Hello everybody, my name is Rebecca Beall and I work here at Old Sturbridge Village as the Collections Manager and Curator of Textiles. Today I'm going to put on my Collections Manager hat, coming to you from the townhouse, and talk a little bit about how in our historic buildings and elsewhere in the village we monitor the environment in order to protect the antiques that are in them. One of the ways we monitor the environment in our spaces is a data logger, and you can see one right behind me on the mantle. The data loggers that we use continuously monitor and record electronically the temperature and the relative humidity in the space. And for those who don't know, the relative humidity is an interplay between the temperature and the measure of the absolute moisture in the air, the dew point. So warmer air can have a higher moisture content, and if you have more moisture, a higher dew point in the air, then you end up with that hazy, hot and humid, really high relative humidity in the space, which can cause all kinds of problems. On the flip side, having a relative humidity that's too low can also cause a lot of problems, particularly for objects like wooden objects. You might get wood contracting and shrinking, veneer popping and lifting. So what we try and do as much as we can in our buildings is keep our environment at a relatively stable range for the multitude of objects that we have in our collection. Somewhere between 40 to 55% is usually where we aim. So what do we do with all this data that we have been collecting? We take it and we try and mitigate the environment as best we can in our historic buildings. During the summer, especially approaching the warmer months, you might notice the temperature creeping up and the humidity creeping up. So in a lot of our spaces, you may or may not notice that we've put out fans to circulate the air and some well-placed dehumidifiers that hopefully are not noticeable during the daytime hours, and a lot of times we pull them out after hours to try and dry out the air a little bit in some of our historic buildings. So we not only monitor the environment in our historic buildings, we also monitor throughout the village, especially in areas that house the bulk of our collection, our storage areas. A lot of those areas are climate controlled. They have HVAC systems, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. So we are able to control the relative humidity and control the temperature much more than we are in our historic structures. So for our most fragile objects that really need a very controlled environment, textiles, a lot of our artwork, this is where they spend the bulk of their time in the best environment for their long-term preservation. So this is just one of the many ways that we try and protect our objects by creating the best possible environment that we can for them so that they are preserved for generations to come.